Hey guys, um, I apologize for the terrible background. This is literally just the sheets on my bed. I'm doing the best I can with my surroundings. I'm 100% used to living in my own house now. Anything else just feels strange. So it's kind of odd not being able to do exactly what I want to do, when I want to do it, and where I want to do it. So it's an adjustment. Uh, I haven't spent this long at home in years. So I noticed something odd. I was touching up this knife on the Sharpmaker. It's just a Benchmade 710 in D2. And yes, it's a different one than I showed before I got the coated version. Traded another knife for this one. I sharpened this on the Edge Pro, and then I did some cutting with it today. And I figured I would touch it up using the ultrafine stones of the Sharpmaker. And that would work fine, except for the problem that I noticed. This bevel is at around 33 degrees inclusive. It would be around 36, but just the way the blade was laying on the table, it ended up being a little less. And I did check that with the angle cube, so right around 33 degrees inclusive, maybe a hair less. So hitting it on the 40-degree side is a pretty steep angle of attack on the edge, as you can see. I mean, that's not just matching the bevel perfectly. That's actually a pretty steep angle of attack, and it's just barely hitting, or not just barely. It is, if the apex of the edge, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's meeting the apex of the edge at a very aggressive angle. And I noticed that I couldn't just touch up the edge with the ultrafine stones. They were meeting the edge at such an aggressive angle that it was actually just burring the knife each time I touched it to the stones. No matter what I did, running it down these stones would burr the knife. And that's because these ceramics are fairly aggressive when you get an angle of attack that is this aggressive. They're very, very hard on an edge, and they put a lot of pressure on an edge when your angle of attack is that steep. So it was causing the very apex of the edge to roll back and forth. I would hit it on this stone, it would roll this way, hit it on this stone. It was just back and forth, and I couldn't stop it from doing that. And it struck me that this may be a problem for a lot of people when they're touching up their knives on the Sharpmaker. They may feel like they keep burring the knife and they don't know why. Well, what I found out is that if you have an edge that is way less than 40 degrees and you try and use it on the Sharpmaker without going up through the grits, then you're not setting that secondary bevel. I mean, you have your primary bevel, and normally it's apexed. Well, in order to use a Sharpmaker, you need to have your primary bevel, then your secondary micro bevel, which is more acute. If you don't set that secondary, or actually it's the tertiary bevel, with the coarse and the fine stones, then you will just constantly flip a burr around on the apex of the edge. You actually have to set the micro bevel with the medium and fine stones to give these ultrafine stones something to work with. And that doesn't mean you have to go through the whole 20 strokes on this, 20 strokes on this. It may take 2 or 3 strokes on this, and then 2 or 3 strokes on the fine. Then you're ready to polish up your edge. It doesn't take much. It just needs to have some sort of foundation for the ultrafine stones to work with. You just can't take a pure edge, which is just apexed like this. It's just one complete bevel all the way to the edge. You can't take that and expect these stones to do a very good job at that unless your angle almost perfectly matches the angle of these stones. So you do need to have some sort of foundation to touch up your edge. with a Sharpmaker, and honestly, this is the first time that this has ever happened to me that I couldn't fix with a little freehand work. The burr was really stubborn on this steel for some reason. I don't know the cause of that, but the burr was very, very stubborn until I did a couple strokes on this stone, and then finally went to the ultrafine stones. So the point of this video wasn't to show you guys something that went wrong. It was to let you guys know that if you ever do need to touch up an already set edge on the Sharpmaker, it would behoove you to go through the grits, medium fine, ultra fine, as opposed to jumping straight to the ultra fine stones, because they do have a tendency to burr the edge unless you have set the micro bevel previously. So hopefully this will save you guys some time and some frustration, because while a burr does feel sharp, it will keep you from getting that ultimate level of sharpness. I could not get this edge back to hair whittling after I did the cutting, and it was just completely baffling me. I couldn't figure it out, and it was because I had a wire edge. So finally took care of it, and it's back to sharpness, and it is screaming sharp. D2 is an amazing steel. So anyway, hope this helps, guys. If it's confusing, I'm sorry. I just kind of came and made this video in haste. So I'll go over it once again. If you're going to do a touch-up with a Sharpmaker, make sure you set the micro bevel with the coarse stones. Even if your edge doesn't need a whole lot of work, just do 2 or 3 strokes on the medium, 2 or 3 on the fine, and then you can do most of your work on the ultra fine. And that way you're not just flipping a burr back and forth. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.